came to the main stage, it wasn't really picked every game.
I was going to say Wisp is probably going to be one of the more... Wisp and Earth Spirit are probably going to be the more contested heroes between these two. Obviously with Crit, Earth Spirit, and with Jarex is the two pretty much iconic names of the hero. They're not banned out in the first two.
They're like very mirror-made, for each other. They both play like very similar heroes. They play the same way.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like an expected one there, I guess. Any other heroes that come to mind that are like in high contention here, apart from the Earth Spirit in the IO? Bat Rider.
Shadow Demon.
Shadow Demon.
Just like the usual Shadow Demon, Luna.
Both are not really
Axe.
Shadow Demon.
I think Axe is another one.
What do you think about Warlock as well? Like Warlock is sometimes picked by EG, but OG tend to, like from the previous series, they tend to prefer to pick it.
I think OG likes Warlock more.
Yeah, probably they like it more than EG.
Yeah.
So this series, thank you for banning Alchemist.
They did ban it. Okay.
Wrong game, guys. Wrong game. Thank you.
So Shadow Demon still available.
I'm glad to see Alchemist go. I mean, let's not forget that one of the big kind of praises we hailed towards EG was that they were finishing, OG, they were finishing games with Alchemist quickly. I mean, we always said it was going to go late game, and they finished 2 sub-40-minute games with Alchemist. That was where
he's only slow for the first 15 minutes. After that, the hero picks up the pace a lot. And right now, OG are taking a long time because they are deciding whether we go for the Shadow Demon or the Warlock.
Yep.
I think 2 of these teams deem Warlock as a counter towards Shadow Demon because of how you work against the hero. Fatal Bonds can deal with the illusions, and you have the Rock to stop him from disrupting his teammate in the team fights.
Yeah.
So OG is known for going for defensive supports. Not always 2. We saw Jarex obviously yesterday on the Slaughter, but normally they go for 2 fairly defensive supports.
That's mainly Fly on the defensive.
Oh, that's we actually overlooked it. That's right. OG always first picks the Naga for no tail. So that does get through.
Yes.
So now
Normally
Shadow Demon, Mirana. Okay.
That was really quick. They might have already anticipated that Naga.
I mean, this goes back to yesterday. Evil Geniuses knew exactly what VP was going to do.
Do you guys know by any chance if there's a support? Okay, maybe not with the Kotal. There's no way. That's very unlikely that the Naga is going to be support anymore.
OG, I think, almost always exclusively runs it on no tail. Yeah.
So it's not a flexible pick for them.
Okay.
You can keep it in the back of your mind, but generally it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is no tail.
But the speed by which EG did respond in that draft does get, it does basically beg the question. They knew that was coming. They almost.
We might see like some anti-mage here from EG.
Morphling or anti-mage.
Yeah, anti-mage or Morphling. Those 2 carries are very good against Naga, and RTZ likes to play both of the heroes.
Do you think they could still go for a Luna? I don't see.
But Luna is like a timing push, If you pick Luna, it means that you want to deal damage to the base at a certain amount of time, like around minute 30. You want to break at least one side of Rex.
Shadow Demon does enable you to open it up a little bit more.
I think if they go Luna, they probably have to go something like a DK mid, like to force the push. Like if you go for like Morphing AM, it's like much easier to.
Yeah,
draft.
I think those are the more 2 ones. I think we'll probably see OG ban one of the 2, if not both of them, in the 3rd, 4th, because we saw them do that at the summit. It was like EG showed their card one of the games, and then I think multiple games versus like Wings versus OG. Everybody was just banning out the anti-mage Morphling in the 3rd, 4th versus them.
Yeah. So we see the Juggernaut ban from EG. So that gives away very important information to OG. It means that EG are not going to try to push because Juggernaut is very good against the Kotal. If you ever want to push against Kotal, you want to have the healing ward. And OG seeing that ban, they take out the AM because if you're not trying to push, you're going to try to play late game. So it's very obvious both of the teams are starting to understand what you're trying to do.
And with them taking a little bit longer to decide about their bans, they're trying to maybe adjust mid-draft to what they already planned from the get-go.
They're thinking about replacements right now because when they see OG take out the AM, they're immediately probably thinking, oh, there's still a Morphling, but they might still ban out the Morphling.
Yep.
So what do we go? What if Morphling is also banned out?
They ban out the LC, obviously the illusion clear, and it's actually been doing pretty decent, even though it's been painting like picked first 2, which I don't think any of us could have predicted in a couple extra series. It's had a quite high win rate here. It's like 70% or something on the main stage.
Teams have been rating the hero very highly though.
So if the Morph indeed is the last ban here, we still have the Luna and the Drow Ranger for Evil Geniuses.
Not a huge fan of the Drow Ranger versus Naga Siren. You're on too much of like a window.
But you do have to push though. If you don't have good late game against Naga, you're not going to want to go to late game, so you have to push even if you don't like it. Like a Drow, Luna, maybe a TB, like something like that to push down.
Terrorblade. We've seen a few Terrorblades, only last pick though.
It's a great response to Alchemist in that kind of essence, because
Yeah.
you hit your timing faster.
They are using a lot of that reserve time.
Yeah, it's like a very big decision here. Do you
Right.
want to ban the Morphling, or are you ready to deal with the Morphling and you rather
So
not?
that's what's happening now. Is they're saying, what can we do if they go?
Yeah,
morph?
they're
Pretty
thinking
much.
about what the enemy can do to win the game. It's either they go late or we want to ban early game hero so they can't pressure us
It's
too
gone.
much.
Yeah, and they get rid of it.
The most annoying one.
We've seen some really big morphlings, haven't we, here on the main
Yes.
stage?
Yeah, from
Think-
Ad Finum.
Ad Finum, especially with Madara.
EG could go for something like a Clockwork if they like it. It's obviously
Yeah,
very good
Clockwork.
versus the Coddle. You can find the Naga Siren as well with your rockets, able to isolate
No,
him
you,
in a
you,
what
you
kind of
can't
way.
cast your ultimate if you get caught in the cogs plus battery.
Yeah, you can't cast your ult. It stops you. Obviously, with the battery assault, you can't
That's a
really
great
cast
pick.
anything.
So far, Universe is not countered at all. At least not that much by OG. He can pick still Darkseer, Clockwork, still in Sand King is still in the pool as well. In terms of offlaners, it's wide open.
Isn't
yeah, it still
Clockwork,
is very open.
isn't Clockwork
Clockwork
one of Universe's like most popular picks as well?
Yeah,
It's like
they have
second
Clockwork
favorite.
plus Mirana, so there's a lot of synergy with the current heroes. I like that pick a lot here for EG. And it allows your other two cores to take a lot from the map, because you don't take much resource as a Clockwork.
Yeah, and you can really mess with the supports as well. You keep supports in the lane because Naga Siren, if they do put it short lane, which we're assuming OG will, since it's going to be No-Tail playing it, you have to help him versus a Clockwork, because if he's just left alone, Clockwork can get way too much. So we'll see what they want to go for, because it's either they go for that or they go for some heavy team fight, some like
It's the Nyx
Darkseer or
Assassin.
Spirit. Okay.
Go Nyx.
Still pretty
That
good.
also leaves Lifestealer is still in if you want to have him as a vessel for some early aggression. If you want to try and find the real Naga Siren,
Yeah.
that's a good
The
way to
Carapace
do
is
it.
very good against the Naga and the Koto.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a Universe hero.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, as you guys, when they run Naga, they mostly just run him like in the safe lane, right? They don't run him mid.
Normally, yeah.
Normally, yes.
Normally.
Yeah, the lanes will be easy to guess for EG right now because Naga is usually a hero that's quite flexible in the lane. You can go safe lane, you can go mid. But if you are only doing him in the safe lane, then the enemy team has an easier time
You
to
can build around that.
Yeah, to build around that, to plan against that. That might be an issue.
One of the more popular picks and more successful picks of the Boston Major has been Mirana.
Yeah.
65% win rate.
Rubik as well, pretty high pick rate. Could be picked by OG, Rubik Koto. They really like the dual hero combination with the Naga.
Yeah.
They go for the Clockwork themselves.
Ooh, a bit of
Ooh,
a
take
deny
it.
pick there as well. S4 is really a really strong Clockwork player. And we are going to assume it is S4, right? There's not really a chance. OG doesn't really pick it as a support.
Never seen it before, but they
They did pick the Slardar
did the
yesterday.
Slaughter,
They did the
so,
Slaughter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
They-
like, Ad Finum did it yesterday. I don't think
Yes.
MNT's played Clockwork support almost ever, and they picked it for him. So it's definitely left. It leaves it maybe a little open, but more than likely S4 Clock. And
if you think about the hero, he's like a support, right?
Yeah.
In the off lane, he doesn't take so much and he runs
Yeah.
around.
yeah, it's a cool, clever dual lane too. Like the Clockwork Coddle, we used to see people run it like a long time ago just to pressure a lot. If they do want to go for something along those lines, and Clockwork fits really well with the Naga because you don't really take too much farm. So they do go for the Luna, as we kind of expected, but
Does that put a timer on their draft at all?
Definitely, they're gonna need to step up the pace of the game. Well, the other thing is what is their mid hero gonna be? Maybe they go for like a heavier farm hero. Then it sort of like puts your team under less stress because if you have dual core against a single core Naga, then you might have a much better time going into the late game.
you don't think there's a chance it's Mirana mid still?
Oh yeah, that
Sumail
too,
does
yeah.
play Mirana.
That too, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the Shadow Demon Mirana support because we've
Yeah.
seen so many support Miranas
There's-
the
I
day
th-
before.
I think there's still a chance, at least this just standing in my mind because of yesterday though, but how do you feel about EG going for like a Chen? I mean, they are versus a Kato, which kind of deters you from going for like that full out push thing, but EG took it late with the Chen yesterday, and it's a great, Shadow Demon combo.
I like Chen because basically the main idea for them right now is to pressure and use the Luna to take down towers. They need a mech carrier, they need a way to push with a support. How about Leshrac? I don't know.
I was actually legit, I was
G
literally about to say
G likes
Leshrac too.
Leshrac, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Leshrac will allow them to push. That would be also a pretty good option, but he's not a mech carrier. That's the
Yeah.
downside.
He does
He
pair
can
up
go.
nicely with the Shadow Demon.
I mean, yeah, I guess he can
I've
fight
seen
a
EG
mech.
play it before.
Yes.
And it's a lot of, it gives you illusion clear on a support, and they already have the Shadow Demon who can make copies of the Naga Siren too.
So far, we've seen pushing supports Shadow Shaman, Leshrac, Chen. But if they do want to go for the support Mirana, and go for a mid core that can push. That's only DK, right? There's not many other heroes that can push on.
Yeah.
Is there
It's
another
like-
hero left that would offer also a little bit more in terms of illusion clear from the Naga Siren?
Mirana carry.
Mirana carry. I think
Yeah.
it's like Lash, Chen, DK, or Invoker are probably like the more likely picks for EG right now.
Yeah, Invoker does give the Nyx much more threat in the map with the Sunstrike, the
Yeah.
Vendetta plus Sunstrike gang.
Exactly.
Yeah, Lion is also one of the heroes, one of the supports. If they still go for that, actually OG thinks they are going for core still.
Yeah. They go for the DK themselves.
DK themselves, so
So-
there it is.
The heroes to make space for the Naga to take the map. The 4 heroes.
Someone to pressure towers with your teammates.
It could be also a deny pick. They are worried about the Luna DK push coming in.
Mhm.
So overall, OG has a very straightforward, solid Naga draft. And EG, do they go for more late game? Do they go for the push? This is the last pick for them.
They're lucky. It's good that they get to at least, even though the DK may have been a deny pick, they get to see the mid laner first. So now it's like, Sumail, do you want to play Murano versus DK mid? Do we want to pick Chen? What approach do we really want to go for
And
this?
they still
it's
have
really in their
bonus time
eyes.
left as well, so
Yeah.
plenty of time to think
Burn
about
it down.
that.
It is interesting that EG have Luna and Shadow Demon, 2 of the most successful picks. In fact, both of those are the 2 picks that are above 60% win rate in the Boston Major, the only
Yeah.
2.
OG thinking they can beat it. Can they outlast them?
They have
The
the
Naga
Naga though.
Siren,
They
yeah.
definitely can. Naga and Keep Off are like very, very good late game.
Do they have enough illusion clear? Is the Keeper of Light enough of an illusion clear? Oh, there's the
They
Lash.
go for the Lash.
They go
yeah.
Lash.
All right.
So support Lash and mid Mirana.
Yes. So they have. It's
Very
a
good
really,
lanes.
it's a very good lanes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very scary. The Shadow Demon Lash Strike roaming potential, and it gives them some more, I guess you could say, late game potential if the Lash Strike is able to like transition to a core too. They do have the potential to maybe take it versus a Naga.
Yeah,
in that essence.
Lash Strike is really good against the illusions.
Yeah.
So a little bit of an edge to EG.
Oof, okay, giving EG the edge in our first draft of our first semi-final. It's time. All right, you've been waiting for the Dota. We've waited long enough. And so I can introduce your casting pair for the first game of our first semi-final for the Boston Major. It's the dudes from Down Under. It's Gods and Toby 1.
That's right. While we can't have a competitive Australian in the finals, maybe we could actually have a couple of casters.
We could have, Toby, come on.
Almost.
We've got Honor. We've
Close.
got one left.
Close, maybe. That's if OG can win. This crowd seems to be backing EG a little bit, but anything is possible. OG as well as EG. We've got major winners. We've got TI winners spattered through them all. Who can actually take this game and push themselves into the best of 5 grand final for the Boston Major?
It's crazy to think there is 3 teams with former OG members in the semi-finals between DC, OG, and EG. There's a very high chance we're going to have a 3-time major winner between the current OG players as well as Crit on EG as well as Moon Meander on DC. But we'll have to see. Maybe Adfin will have a thing or two to say about it. Right now, EG going with a very aggressive smoke maneuver into the enemy jungle through the mid lane.
Yeah, they're not going to find anyone
find
though.
much,
OG is preparing themselves for the bot rune, but this will allow EG to establish some aggressive ward control if they want to. Not the biggest game for this to happen, as OG aren't really running a jungler, Clockwork, a hero who stays in the off lane, doesn't want to back out and say, hey, I'm going to do what we saw Axe do yesterday, where it's like just abandon the off lane completely, get some heavy farm.
We haven't seen where they want to put their second observer ward yet. Now they'll plant it just to help protect the off lane from some of those rotations. And I mean, for EG, you're pretty happy with that movement, even though you got nothing out of it because you get 2 really nice, difficult to plant wards typically. But OG similarly have got that cliff ward, so they're going to see a whole lot as EG look to go for an aggressive tri-lane, it seems.
Well,
They've already got Naga rotating bottom, so they've seen enough that they see the aggro tri-lane, and Naga is not having any of it.
Yeah, and EG don't want anything to do with it either. Universe is headed down to the south, so okay, everyone with the lane switch up. Thanks to that Dire Observer ward sitting up next to the tower. You still haven't had EG. Okay, now Zai's going to come in range. They see Crit as well, so OG are very well aware of what's going on, pinging out the fact that Zai is already making a break for that side shot, so they've got to be careful about this. But with S4 with the cog block, he's going to hold him back. And it's a nice lane. Fly and S4 together, this Keeper of the Light plus Clockwork, very difficult to engage on, and you might take a lot of harassment to do so.
That's the big thing. Having Coddle against the tri-lane is really nice because you can hit 3 heroes with Illuminate. So you can't get too aggressive on S4 because you'll just take a lot of harass. And Rubik is enough to help support No-Tail down bottom. He can help just put enough pressure onto the Universe Nyx Assassin that No-Tail should get relative free farm down here.
This is also a beautiful lane. Notel, when he plays this Naga, he's done it before, and I was waiting for it to happen in the draft where we saw like the OG Pudge come in combination. They've done it with combination with the Clockwork. And Notel, when he would run it in that scenario, was always this great zone to go for exactly the same item build he's gone here, and he just moves in, riptides out the hero, and just that zones out the offlaner. Now, in this case, he's got a Rubik behind him, so he's already able to zone out the offlaner, give Jirax a little bit more space, but with the pull over that Jirax has done, this is just giving all the free farm on the bottom lane to Notel.
Yeah, it's a nice play to try and deny farm and XP from Universe. He'll get the split XP with the neutrals when he comes in, but Notel able to farm pretty well under his tower, already picks up the Quelling Blade. Mid lane though, it's the 1v1, the Sumail versus Honor matchup. Sumail with the CS advantage has gone for the first item, Bassi, which makes it kind of tough for the DK to last hit. DK, no Quelling Blade, is going to go for the Bottle Rush. So he's just going to be relying on the Breathe Fire as far as this lane goes.
Yeah, first little rotation of Zai hovering around the mid lane. Now, this wasn't properly scouted out until now, as Fly came down for the 2-minute rune. Zai is just going to harass the Keeper of the Light away. But this gives a warning to the DK.
Oh, Sumail could be in trouble. An Invis rune from Jerax. This has not been scouted. They do know it was the actual rune down bottom, so Sumail probably being told, like, watch out for the haste, the Invis, some kind of high impact
Courier
rune.
snipe. Zai, is he going to get there in time? The Courier turned for a split second. It's got the bottle on it. Zai able to take it. Jirax coming behind it, and then on the bottom lane as well. Top lane Clockwork is the first blood that EG will claim. Not only a Courier snipe, but you also lose the Clockwork.
What a start for EG. Always, you feel like as a DK mid and you go for that bottle rush, you have to bottle crow. Like, you're against a range hero, you're being constantly harassed. Your way to CS is through the Breathe Fire spam. So you're like, all right, I've got a bottle crow, that's what DK does in mid lane, but losing your bottle because of how reliant you are about it can absolutely cripple you. And now this is going to be a pretty big period of time where Honor does not have the bottle at mid.
And they are going to censor what was just put on the screen. Sumail, got to be careful right now. His Breathe Fires on up with the Fade Bolt, just had level 4. So the leap away on low life. Zai turns, going to get the stun into Ana, combining up with the arrow. That's a big stun. Sumail has level 2 Starfall. There should be enough damage, or will it? Ana, back to the tower. They missed up here as well. And Sumail, now Jirax picks him up. Fade Bolt to bubble. It's only level 1. The damage is enough with the bounce out. Jirax playing it perfectly, and EG, well, the luck was there to get some early first bloods, but they just kept missing.
I want to say they had both heroes miss uphill there. That's what it looked like, at least. Perhaps it was the damage block from the high armor and the stout shield on one of them, but that was some very fortunate stuff for Honor, not going down there and turning it around with Rubik picking up the kill.
He needed something like that. Like, the Courier is going to be back up in 1 minute, so he'll have his bottle back at that point. But this has given him, like, room to breathe.
Absolutely. And for OG, you're kind of happy with all this like chaotic stuff happening in mid and top lane if the Notel Naga is being ignored. And that's been the case so far, and that is about to change.
Yeah, the smoke maneuver is SD as well as Lashrak coming in. Notel's got no mana. Like, his PMS will not protect him from this. Jirax, he's got enough mana for at least one Telekinesis or Fade Bolt, and he's going to have to make the choice. There's already Disruption, Catcher, Universe. Oh, he misses the stun! He didn't hit Notel at the right time, and the Split Earth misses! EG, a couple of things go wrong, and OG get out jail free card.
Yikes. That perhaps first game of the day, still waking up. That was one of the snippets I heard from them going in to play the first match of the day yesterday. They're like, man, we play at like 60% when we're playing. They said like everyone plays at 60% of full potential in that first game of the day.
Well, we better make sure this whole series goes to 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These games are just going to get better game by game as the teams fully wake up, but you can't be making those kind of mistakes sometimes. It could be very costly if Notel stays alive. Doesn't even take damage, so it's not even like they send him back to base. He's still sitting down here, able to farm with his illusions, potentially even his hero once he feels it's safe that the supports are gone. This is an off-lane farming Naga Siren.
This is very problematic when you're able to get that early level 6 EG's initiation and that aggressive maneuver you're looking for with the SD and Lashrak. It may just not come to fruition. Mid lane, Jirax, there's your pick up over on Mirana, dragging it back with a Dragon Tail stun. The leap, he doesn't even get up the hill. Jirax able to Fade Bolt him down. So OG now is Jirax. You've got to respect his rotations.
That's Jirax in a nutshell. He is the best ganking 4 position support out there, hands down. He makes these plays happen. he does on here is that you can kind of roam and gank on Rubik, but you don't expect to be able to gank a mid-Mirana. This is not like a 2-hero combo that you normally expect to find that kill, but the DK Rubik bring her down for a second time now, and Sumail is going to be perhaps getting a bit tilted almost after the 2 ganks coming his way, especially with those uphill misses earlier. This early game, to me, favoring OG a bit. Nyx is top of the CS. The CS-wise, it's not amazing for OG. It's just the fact they're getting away with the Naga farming in the off lane. The DK mid, his lane's been salvaged despite the bottle snipe. And if anything, that courier snipe is what's given EG what they need out of this earlier game.
Should flag to the fact like Arteezy bailed off that top lane. There was a small moment where S4 almost came in range to lock him inside Cogs with a level 3 battery assault. And I think Arturo probably realized he's completely alone on that top just because they rotated down the SD as well as Lesh earlier on. So Illuminate going to go to work. Universe by Carapace returns to the Keeper of the Light. But this is the same combination we saw from OG yesterday, having both the high level up in Fate Bolt as well as Illuminate. The creep waves don't stand a chance. They get melted so quickly, and without that Chen pickup that the panel as well as yourself was looking for, EG don't have that early sustained push.
Yeah, they have got Universe up to 6, so perhaps the plan is going to be try and snipe some of those annoying backline supports, the Coddle, the Rubik. If you can get a pick off using the Vendetta.
Jirax.
He's seen him though with the Dire Ward, so he has pretty good intel as far as what's going on here. Has even the Sentry Ward down between the towers and the TP in from Clock. They're possibly looking for that kill on Universe.
There's a level 6 up on S4.
They're hoping that he would just Vendetta in and try and counter-initiate using the Clockwork Hook, and Universe still may go for that play.
It's Storm coming back up. S4 potentially could have blind hooked that small little path. Now the Sentry's there. Jirax, well, it starts off with a disruption on Universe, in fact, not on Jirax.
That's the 60%. Everyone missing their spells. Crit, he disrupted Universe. He was trying to aggressively disrupt. Universe was also probably going for the Vendetta initiation. Then you missed the hook shot into the SD Illusions. Everything missing, Toby. This is not the crisp play you'd normally expect from these teams, but it's such a high-pressure game, so tense here. These teams probably thinking this is almost in some way a finals.
Nice stun in the middle. This stun's going to connect Sumail as well. The Starfall's there. One charge just can't get off in time. Jirax started his TP, but also TP to the backside of the tower, so couldn't instantly get that telekinesis off. But you are right. There's a couple of things going a little bit wrong, but there's so much pressure. Like OG, everyone expected them to perform really well at TI. Didn't really go that way for them. Now, they are known as the major champions, 2 times over. So there's a lot of pressure on them to perform well in EG. The story of this whole Boston Major is them getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we see these teams go for kind of safe strats in that game 1, just trying to test the waters. I mean, for OG, it's one of those things where you can mis-execute a gank like that, or they were trying to bait the Nyx into the Sentry, and yeah, they mess it up and should have gotten that kill, but they've still got their overall strategy and game plan working. The Naga is farming, has the Arcane Boots, has the max out mirror images, can farm the jungle, can farm the lanes. There hasn't been any real pressure onto Notel, nor does it look like there'll be pressure directly on him. More likely you see pressure towards towers. EG want to take objectives, use smokes, use the Nyx to go rotate around and find kills. They're much more concerned about gaining control of the map rather than ganking Notel 5-10 times.
Well, speaking of those smokes, we do have this maneuver from EG through the Dire jungle. Notel knows he's actually already backing up. This is around that time when you expect the Radiant side to look to that Dire safe lane tower to bring it down. So Notel's positioning is already perfect just to delay the lane out.
Yep, and he's farming. He's got his illusions in the jungle, so he just sends those out. He's not getting absolutely nothing while he's tucked away here, but he will poke his nose out soon, which could get scouted by the Radiant Observer Ward.
It's a very interesting time to actually bring a Lunar on a rotation. Normally, we've seen a lot of Lunars throughout this series, throughout this competition, and especially with OG. Oh, they just Sentry Ward, Universe, he's visible. The Dragon form gives him the range stun. Now hook shot forward. S4's going to hold him there with the Cogs. Arrows coming in. Universe gets his stun off, but it's already too late. Clockwork will take the kill with the battery assault. And EG wastes a lot of time with 3 big heroes to gain nothing and, in fact, lose.
That's the big thing you mentioned, like with Luna not farming and going with the team for those smoke rotations, you really are looking to use the Eclipse. Find the level 4 Lucent Beam Eclipse to kill off a core hero, be it the Naga, the Dragon Knight, or even kill multiple heroes and then transition into a tower off of that. But EG getting jumped on because there's the Sentry Ward there means they're not getting a kill, they're not getting a tower to follow it up. And it is wasted time. It's time where Arteezy could have been farming. That's a bit of a concern for him. He is, well, not too far behind the Naga Siren, but that's going to get worse when the Naga has Radiance. What is good for EG is how farmed Sumail is. Sumail's, despite the 2 deaths, well on top of the net worth chart.
As long as he can get to that Aghanim Scepter timing. It's the downside about having the Naga. She's got to hold on to a decent amount of money for now. But this will be a nice injection. The Tier 1 tower will fall. It's a level 3 Edict. The Naga illusions don't really do a lot. And Notel's not looking to fight anyway. He's going for a 4-0-4 build. If you're thinking of even engaging early on, you want to have 1 point up in Song of the Siren. Flying G-Race can keep the creep wave at bay, but that's an easy Tier 1 tower for EG.
Yeah, for now this game's kind of at a tempo that's EG set, but it's still like feeling all right for OG. Perhaps they're not too pleased with the overall outcome of the mid lane with Honor kind of going down the one time, losing his bottle. He's not farming all too well, but DK's not a hero you need to be doing big things on. We saw it with LFY, with Super, when he played these Dragonite games. As long as you get your basic core items, you get your treads, your wand, you get a BKB later, you get a shadow, some kind of initiation item, the Shadow Blade or the Blink, you're going to be okay to do your role as a Dragonite. You can set up a fight, you can go in, and then the clockwork follows you up. So just having one of those 2 tools and having enough farm as a DK is all you really need.
Oh, Universe. You expect him to be rotating around with that Vendetta not happening. Crit is actually looking up, calling out the stacks. It's not going to be too long before OG want to look to farm this, but for now, OG, defense of their Tier 1 tower on bottom lane. They are going to trigger off the fortification. And then a Moonlight Shadow. Who are they looking for? It's actually to get on the top lane. Arteezy out of there. But S4 hit the blind hook shot. He had a small bit of time to see him. But the Illuminate, the Sentry Warp, it does the work. And the Luna will fall.
Yeah, that's great pickoff for OG when you're killing one of the key heroes of EG. Taking Arteezy down, they do take a bit of damage on this bottom Tier 1, but even that's being well defended. And then looking for an initiation on Zai.
If they can find him in the tree lines, Anna's going to make his way down. Jirax having that Pulse Nova will give the extra damage, but now, well, they actually have Anna stuck in the tree line. Dire Creep Waves moving in, Universe under the cover of Vendetta, also in the neighborhood, but they drop a Sentry Ward. They see him straight away! OG! I don't know if they realize it. Universe with the Spike Carabas might buy himself a little bit of space, but not enough to survive. S4's Cogs will keep Sumail out this fight as well. And OG's Sentry Wards have been right on the money.
They've been game winning. It's ridiculous how they've caught the Nyx Assassin. It's not like they're buying, they're over-investing in sentries and they're all across the map. They're just in the right place at the right time, catching Universe above that bottom rune earlier, catching him now at the bottom lane. They should have caught him between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower. They've read Universe's rotations perfectly this game. That is some impressive support play from between Fly and Jerax, making those calls, and S4 hitting some really nice hooks onto that Nyx Assassin on a couple different occasions.
You still have the tower advantage going the way of EG. We expect this kind of stuff when you're running, maybe not the Lunar as much, but at least when you're running the track for the early pressure. Jirax out a long way. S4, the Observer Ward. He saw SD just moving in, and Crit, well, he is most definitely dead up on that top lane.
Nice little up spot because it's out of sentry range from that Cliff Ward, which is so common and popular. Does give OG another kill going their way. This game is really feeling very OG favored right now, just based on the continuous kills we're seeing out of S4's Clockwork. Farm-wise, it's not a complete disaster for EG. It's even on net worth, but it's still an under-farmed Luna. This is not EG hitting their stride. They were hoping to be able to take towers, take objectives, use this level 4 Edict on Leshrac. They picked this hero to have a pushing lineup, and while Leshrac has been in the right place to kind of go for some towers from time to time, it never really has come together where EG is a 5-man unit. Have everything they need.
Well, they keep losing their cores before the Leshrac can push. Like, Universe goes down, you're losing so much control through his stuns, through even just the fear of a Nyx Assassin running on the map. You're meant to, like, OG is meant to be fearing the rotations of the Nyx Assassin, but because they keep seeing him, because these supports have picked up so much money, they got so much money to spend on these utility items like Sentry Wards, that they're just checking every time where Universe is moving. And underneath the Obs and the Sentry on bottom, it's actually more trouble for Artur. S4! A big wide hook, a secondary Sentry will be dropped. Arteezy with that Purge creep, actually slowing down Jirax for the moment. It's got another charge with the Lucent Beam. Jirax in trouble. There goes your first disruption out from Crit. Jirax gets stunned up, hit by the Vendetta, copping a fair chunk of damage and will die.
Yeah, OG just looked to cut their losses there. Imagine it was like, look, we've got this relic coming. Let's not lose a big team fight here. We can take a one-man casualty in the Rubik, but we don't have to lose too much more. If anything, they're probably concerned about the tower push coming now with EG all grouped up towards this bottom lane. They've got 4 heroes down here. They don't have Sumail on the Mirana, who's very close to an Aghanim Scepter. He's the player they're kind of looking to kind of transition into that mid to late game as the big carry here with Arteezy struggling and to be able to fight those Naga illusions.
Yeah, the Naga illusions is where my mind's going for the double Starfall. If Sumail can clear this out, then Notel's damage in the fights is obviously going to be drastically less. Yep. But then you look towards the DK. Anna, he's finally getting closer towards that armlet. He's behind the Luna in net worth, so it hasn't been the greatest DK game after his bottle got sniped. But the game of catch-up is always going to be better for OG, just because you're running a Naga and Keeper of the Light. Your global control is so good that it's more like EG is on the clock to try and win this.
Oh, absolutely. The longer this goes, as much as Mirana can clear out waves and pseudo deal with Naga illusion, it's still Naga still is going to come out on top there over time. The illusions always split across 3 lanes. Mirana cannot be in all 3 lanes at once. Naga illusions will just get tankier over time once you get more and more items. The Octarine with the Manta with a potential Heart of Taras. That's where the illusions have too much HP to even burst them down. For OG, you want to make sure you have to farm elsewhere. The Dragon Knight of Honor has an Ancient stack which you can farm a bit later on once he hits level 11. So for OG, I think I look towards them getting more farm and Honor because everything's going fine for the Naga. They want to make sure they have diversity with their damage output and with other heroes able to contribute. Because EG are playing for the long game. They picked up the Midas on Universe's Nyx Assassin. They've got the Helm of the Dominator Arteezy. He's farming Ancient stacks himself. Sumail's got the Aghanim Scepter. He's looking for the late game, of course. So even though there's a Naga on OG, the late game is kind of what EG have kind of recognized as where they're heading in.
Universe, how do you stay alive? Sit underneath your own sentry ward. That way you know they don't have vision of you.
There's a Radiance though, and I think they decide, let's not fight this Radiance song.
And DK actually triggers his Dragon Form with the extra sentry planted and the Obs Ward. That sentry is just out of range of the Radiant sentry. Arrow will fly between the middle of OG. The Observer Ward will be taken out. Universe, oh, the Spike Arrow's the hook shot! S4's in! Disruption came from Crit, but it didn't do enough in time. S4 does get stunned up, but Notel resets up the fight with the Song of the Siren. Zai's just out of range of it, and that allows Ana to pick him up without turning off the Song of the Siren. Now Sumail into the trees, picked up by Jirax, thrown back into the middle of the OG sandwich, and 4 heroes down for EG. A tier 1 tower to boot, and OG, they look in great control of this game at the moment.
Yep. First thing Notel does with his Radiance is tell his team, let's go fight, let's go together, let's contest those Ancients and take a team fight. They get the initial pick off. S4's clockwork has been impressive to say the least. He has found initiation after initiation, and that sleep micro from Notel, he slept everyone, but then moved his hero a bit further away so that the DK could finish off the Leshrac. So really nice positioning from him. Everything being played out just perfectly by OG in that team fight, and they get themselves the tower. They get a huge chunk of gold going their way. Notel pulls well ahead in overall farm, and Dragon Knight even looking a lot more competitive with the Luna and Mirana having stayed alive throughout that one as well.
EG's grouping up, 5-man smoke. They will move from their tier 2 tower. They were out of range of any of OG's vision. But is this a slip into Roshan? Will OG know about this? Or are they coming for the kills? The Radiant, they scan, they understand that OG is near the Ancients. Fly, well, he might be the sacrificial lamb for OG. A 5-man smoke maneuver. If they take the Ancients as well, it's worth it for EG.
Yeah, they feel confident knowing that the sleep is on cooldown.
Wait. That's a Vendetta Rubik with a Blink Dagger. Jirax is sitting next to the Ancients with a fresh Blink Dagger.
There's no sentries. There's no sentries to scan him out.
Well, where's your money anyway? You can't have sentries if you got no money on your supports. The stack is still not taken. Anna's coming in with his Dragon Form available. Jirax gets hit. Now the blink forward, picking up Arteezy, drags him back. The Ensnare will hold Artur in the middle of the river. But that's a little bit too far to go, and OG will say thank you. You did a little bit of work for us. They'll finish up the Ancient stack.
Yeah, they'll get zoned by the Radiant Illusions. All it's going to take is like a bit of Radiance damage and a Riptide to get everyone on EG down to half HP. And yep, that'll get OG the Ancients. It was a Keeper of the Light going down, but that was an EG maneuver that was looking for a bigger kill, that was looking to actually take those Ancients. They didn't find the Naga or DK. They didn't get to steal the Ancients.
Oh, and all the wards that EG just put down will be lost. Notel, they found both of the Observer Wards that EG placed with this smoke maneuver. So now EG, they're pretty much blind on the map. S4 gets a hook shot down the bottom lane, actually soloing Arteezy's Luna.
Dang, that is not a good sign when your Luna's getting solo killed by a Clockwork.
But what
just
are you meant to
farming the
do?
jungle.
Like, he's got Blade Melee. You want to turn your ulti on that? That's not going to happen, but we'll have a quick look at that one. So this is S4. This is just what we missed then. He's looking. Someone has to be somewhere around here. Oh, look at that. Free gold. Free gold on the Panther.
Didn't even have to hook shot initially. Wow, he almost missed that hook shot. That was just barely clipping the side. Arteezy trying to make some nice plays to juke it there, but
it's the style
well
points.
Landed.
You grab it by the tail.
Yeah. Tough game for Arteezy. He's now 0-2. His net worth is just not where you'd expect it to be for an ancient stacking Luna, and S4's got another hook in 18 seconds.
Man, at this rate, he's going to have his Aghanim Scepter, and then like you won't even care about the cooldown of hook. Prep work from OG on the top lane. It's again, they're putting a lot of farm and space into this Rubik. They know he can survive almost anything EG throw at him. Especially when No-Tail's just in the neighborhood.
No-Tail's always there to bail out OG if EG catch them by surprise or go for another smoke play. They do have one, and it does feel like they can't just sit back and play the farm game. OG have too much map control now. They've got nice vision around this Radiant Ancients. It's hard for Arteezy to go back to stacking this and maintain control. Meanwhile, OG have full control of their side of the map. Unless EG go for another big smoke, those Dire Ancients are fully in OG's hands.
But how is EG meant to fight when they don't have the items needed to fight? Like, the Aghanim Scepter is the only critical item that EG has managed to gather in. Like, you're running a hand of Midas Phoenix Assassin, maybe he gets an Aghanim Scepter in defense, but you need the Yule Scepter over on the Lashrak. This is kind of critical for Lesh to get these proper setups, unless you want to rely on Crit, but Crit can't stand the front lines long enough. He doesn't have enough survivability, and you're still short the Manta on Arteezy.
I think more so than the Yules is even the Universe Blink Dagger. He's going to be the key initiator as far as the upcoming fights go, where he can blink in, start things off with Impale, set it up for the Leshrac to not have to go for Yules. If anything, yeah, Zion looks like he may be considering a 4-staff. And the other big item is Luna's BKB, I want to say. This is one of those games where the fights are coming to you soon. If you don't go for BKB, fighting into the DK stun, the Blinding Light, Rubik, Clockwork, these are all heroes that demand a BKB. So we may just have to see the Luna go for one very, very early on.
Zaya's going to try and snipe out this bottom tower. It's been so long, the fortification's already back off cooldown, and hook shot! The rocket from S4 gave him the perfect vision in the tree line, not to mention the Lashrak walking into that position in front of the tier 1 tower. So that was just an easy kill, but forces rotation from OG. They were technically already doing it, however. They took the tier 2 tower and already started half of the TPs to bot lane.
Something some people may forget about the old alliance saves with S4 is he used to play a lot of mid Clockwork. He was one of the few mid players out there who would play this mid, max the battery assault first, and just go around ganking and killing everyone. Similar to how we play like a mid bat rider. And he is showcasing his prowess on the Clockwork here again and again. He's so tanky now, 1500 HP with a Blade Mail and Hood. Killing him when he initiates. It's normally you think Clockwork, he initiates in, he sets up a fight, he dies, and his team clean up. But no, this is a Clockwork. He's getting the kills and surviving because of how well he's done and how farmed he's gotten. He's almost up there with the Luna in farm. Well, no, not quite, but the fact he's as close as he is with the Luna is still ridiculous in itself.
I'm not for this maneuver that's coming out from Jirax and Fly. Like, it's so smart. They split their sentry wards, so each of them has one, and with a smoke maneuver, they were hunting the Nyx. Smoke breaks, drop a sentry ward, and then you can easily just blink into telekinesis.
See if they look to set up at this top lane. They have got, the recall coming. S4's now here at the top lane looking for a hook shot.
Well, with the rocket, they see him, and Crit caught in the tree line. S4 success rate rather high. And Crit will die to the Clockwork. Even with disruption, it just bought him a little bit of time, but the result was inevitable.
There's one player who hasn't needed any waking up. It is still S4, and OG have got a gem now on the Naga Siren. One of the really nice things you can do, just buy a gem for her. She can then send the illusions out. It's very easy to find the Nyx and shut down his game. Universe's ability to roam around the map is pretty much taken out. I mean, it's been taken out this entire game. It's not like it's just happening now with this gem. Even before this, with the Sentry Wards alone, OG were always ready for Universe's Nyx, and that's going to get even more and more difficult. This is where it's almost demanded that he has to get a blink, because he's no way to initiate with all the detection. He's just going to have to initiate the old-fashioned way, which is just blink in with Impale, not use the Vendetta. for initiation, but use it maybe for a bit of extra damage. Not a spell you can rely on anymore.
This is a little disgusting. Rubik stole Disruption from the SD. So combining it up with the fresh Mana Style on No-Tail, they just forced in all the lanes, bring EG back to base. No-Tail like BT to the bottom lane, then Fly just recalls him straight back into the mid, and OG continue this assault.
Strategically, OG can deal with almost anything EG throw at them. Because of often you go for the 5-man push, the answer is to go push a side lane, split push with Sumail, but like you just said, you've got the ways to deal with it. EG's their biggest and best way back into this game is going to be going for a big team fight. Very difficult to do against the sleep, but they've got to find some way to smoke out, catch OG by surprise. TZ saving up 3.4k gold, and I am looking at that BKB as the timing for when they want to make that smoke. Roche is still standing, something that OG don't really want to go for, and they don't take too well. They push just fine without it, and their lineup, if anything, slows down if they waste time to go for Roche, but EG need to find a way to get their lanes pushed out and go for that smoke.
Yep. Difficult. Very, very difficult. Find a way, maybe they can show us the way, because right now there isn't really a visible one. TZ's banking on a lot of money. The only way they could really do it is if they could defend this OG attack. At Ana, the Dragon Form, you just jump up onto the hill, the tick begins, with the Naga Illusions all out. Every lane is being pressured, so EG can't mount like a straight 5-on-5 defense line.
Yeah, for EG, it's pretty much defend the high ground now, which is not a position you want to be in when you're versing a Naga Siren, because that's not defending one lane, that's defending all three.
Maybe now they can fight. That BKB is on the Luna.
Yeah,
So you kind of have to come out, but the second you try and come out, OG will know. They'll see inside your base. Even if there's not an observer board, there'll be an illusion.
OG get too much map vision is the problem now with the illusions pushing all three lanes. No-Tail's micro is pretty much sit in mid lane, make illusions, send one top, send one bottom, send one mid, and his hero never even pushes forward. It's just the illusions.
Okay, this is actually hilarious. So right now, Durax is making copies of the illusions of Naga that have been sent out by Crit, who made copies of the first copy that Durax sent into the base. Oh, it's literally copies of copies of copies. There's got to be some level of
It's too early in the
degradation
morning.
this.
I have no idea what you just said. Speaking.
Wake up, gods! Wake up!
Oh boy, it's a tough game for EG. That goes without saying. They've got some good AoE heroes in the Mirana, the Leshrac, so they can theoretically push out lanes. The problem is you're always split up, and that's where the Clockwork pulls this draft together.
This is
for
the
OG.
opening. This is the opening. It's Arteezy retreating out. S4, hook shot over. Remember, Arteezy has that BKB. Is he going to trigger it to try and fight this with the ensnare? He triggers the BKB, but so late. The Song of the Siren comes out. The Eclipse, the damage just is nowhere near enough. It's actually isolated him. He was the only one immune from the Song of the Siren. Now everyone's on the run. At least they want to run, but they're being denied even that privilege. The SD was caught on the retreat. And OG, they finally got what they wanted. Arteezy just slipped out a little bit too far to farm up the wave. OG pounced. And EG, almost like they weren't sure if they actually wanted to fight that.
Yeah, they decided. I mean, Luna had no buyback.
Oh, Ana, blink, stun, crit, goodbye. 45 seconds on the sideline. Sumail jumps in, maybe with a stun, but no Clockwork! It's a huge cog, and they just called GG well played. It was a slow bleed of the blue. And green is reigning supreme. OG take game one against Evil Geniuses.